Hi everyone. Welcome to my channel. If you haven't been here, why don't you go down, hit the subscribe button, and ring the bell so you know when I come out with new content and when I go live. So anyway, I always do Today in History first, unless it's a Saturday live stream, and then I do my comment of the week first. But it's not Saturday, at least not here. So I'm going to be doing Today in History. And here it is a little past midnight on the 13th. So Today in History, Patriots take Montreal. On November 13th, 1775, Continental Army Brigadier General Richard Montgomery takes Montreal, Canada, without opposition. Montgomery's victory owed its success in part to Ethan Allen's disorganized defeat at the hand of British General and Canadian Royal Governor Guy Carleton at Montreal on September 24th, 1775. Allen's misguided and undermanned attack on Montreal led to his capture by the British and imprisonment in Pendennis Castle in Cornwall, England. Although a failure in the short term, Allen's attack had long-term benefits for the Patriots. Carleton had focused his attention on suppressing Allen's attack while refusing reinforcements to Fort Saint-Jean, to which Montgomery's expedition laid siege from August 21st to November 3rd, 1775. Fort Saint-Jean commander Major Charles Preston surrendered on November 3rd, fearful of the hardship the town's civilians would face during a winter under siege, with the final fortification between Montgomery and Montreal in Patriot hands and Carleton's defenses depleted by the conflict with Allen. Montgomery's forces entered Montreal with ease on November 13th. After Montgomery's success at winning Montreal for the Patriots, Carleton escaped and fled to Quebec City, where he and Montgomery would, in December, again face one another in a climatic battle that would determine the fate of the Patriot invasion of Canada. Facing the year-end expiration of their troops' enlistment, Patriot forces advanced on Quebec under the cover of a blizzard at approximately 4 a.m. on December 31st, 1775. The British defenders under Carleton were ready, however, and when Montgomery's forces came within 50 yards of the city's fortifications, the British opened fire with a barrage of artillery and musket fire. Montgomery was killed in the first assault, and after several more attempts at penetrating Quebec's defenses, his men were forced to retreat. Meanwhile, Colonel Benedict Arnold's division suffered a similar fate during their attack on the northern wall of the city. A two-gun battery opened fire on the advancing Americans, killing a number of troops and wounding Benedict Arnold in the leg. Patriot Daniel Morgan assumed command and made progress against the defenders, but halted at the second wall of fortifications to wait for reinforcements. By the time the rest of Arnold's army finally arrived, the British had reorganized, forcing the Patriots to call off their attack. Of the 900 Americans who participated in the siege, 60 were killed or wounded, and more than 400 were captured. The remaining Patriot forces then retreated from Canada. Benedict Arnold remained in Canadian territory until the last of his soldiers had crossed the St. Lawrence River to safety. With the pursuing British forces almost in firing range, Arnold checked one last time to make sure all his men had escaped, then shot his horse and fled down the St. Lawrence in a canoe. Carleton had successfully snatched victory from the jaws of defeat and secured Canada for the British Empire. So that was today in history. That was lovely. No, I don't try to pick bad news. But unfortunately there's more bad news than good news out there. You guys should know that. For some reason, bad news sells better than good news. But at any rate, on to the topic of the day, which is, instead of more bad advice in the Bible, because I'm getting kind of tired of that title, I've entitled this one Terrible Advice in the Bible, but it is still under my Bad Advice in the Bible playlist. And it is Proverbs 13:22 to 14:12. And nobody's come in yet. So 13:22. A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children, but a sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. This is not exactly terrible advice. It is just, first of all, not true. And second of all, I don't know where he gets this stuff from, because there are good people who are poor and they can't leave anything. They can't leave an inheritance for their children, unless of course he's talking about maybe a house, because back then people did own their houses because they tended to build them. A sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. Again, I reject the concept of sin, so that makes no sense. Verse 23, an unplowed field produces food for the poor, but injustice sweeps it away. Again, this makes no sense. What does "but injustice sweeps it away" even mean? An unplowed field produces food for the poor. Okay, I get that. In Israel, there was a law that you would leave the edges of the field unplowed for the poor to come in and glean, and so they could eat. So I get that. That's not the part that's not making sense. The part that doesn't make sense is the next part. But injustice sweeps it away. I don't even know what that means. I have no words for that. Whoever spares the rod hates their children, but the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them. This is the spare the rod, spoil the child verse. I'm not really faulting them for not knowing this, because it was back before science was even a thing. But psychology has proven punishment does not work. If you want to discipline your children, discipline, not beat. If you want to discipline your children, the best way to do that is through positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. And negative reinforcement is not punishment. Positive reinforcement is when your children are good, you give them something they like a piece of candy. Negative reinforcement is taking something away that they feel is negative. So it's not inflicting any kind of punishment on them. So, yeah, I don't really blame them, but it's been a verse that's done a lot of harm over millennia, and it needs to stop. Verse 25. The righteous eat to their heart's content, but the stomach of the wicked goes hungry. Is it just me, or is this dude just repeating stuff? Again, not necessarily. There are good people who go hungry, and evil people eat. It's not that hard to figure out. And he's done this before. I think he may even have said the exact same thing, worded just a little bit differently in another verse. Going on to chapter 14, verse 1. The wise woman builds her house, but with her own hands the foolish one tears hers down. This just goes to show the utter misogyny of the Bible. It's not the husband's place to do anything in the house. It's the woman's place. She's supposed to do everything. She's supposed to cook. She's supposed to raise the children. She's supposed to get the water. She's supposed to do everything domestic, basically. And they don't say what their idea of a wise woman is, and they don't say what their idea of a foolish woman is. So, again, we've got nonsensical words that mean basically nothing. Whoever fears the Lord walks uprightly, but those who despise him are devious in their ways. I absolutely disagree. Absolutely. The God of the Bible is a moral monster, and those who do not even worship him, like me, are far more moral than if Christians would follow the Bible in its entirety, which, thank goodness, most Christians are not crazy enough to do. Verse 3. A fool's mouth lashes out with pride, but the lips of the wise protect them. Again, I think I've seen this before. I think he said it before in a slightly different way, and it's just not true. Verse 4. Where there are no oxen, the manger is empty, but from the strength of an ox comes abundant harvests. I kind of get where he's going with this one. They didn't have machinery back then, so oxen would have to pull the reaper or whatever they called it back then. But there were such things as quote unquote abundant harvests before they came up with the reaper thing, or whatever they called it. It's called picking with your hands, people. Verse 5. An honest witness does not deceive, but a false witness pours out lies. I know I've seen this one, because I'm going to say the same thing to this one as I said to the other one. Like, duh, it's definitional. Verse 6, the mocker seeks wisdom and finds none, but knowledge comes easily to the discerning. Sounds like a bunch of gobbledy-gook to me. Verse 7. Stay away from a fool, for you will not find knowledge on their lips. Maybe, maybe not. Verse 8. The wisdom of the prudent is to give thought to their ways, but the folly of fools is deception. Okay, I kind of understand what this says. It is a bit of word salad. But he's saying, if you give thought to what you're going to do, then, you're prudent. But the folly of fools is deception. That's word salad. It makes no sense. Bunch of gobbledygook. And didn't Jesus say, he who says thou fool shall be in danger of hellfire? I'm just saying. Verse 9. Fools mock at making amends for sin, but goodwill is found among the upright. Well, considering sin is a concept that doesn't exist, I can't really mock at the idea of making amends for a concept that doesn't exist, now can I? Verse 10. Each heart knows its own bitterness, and no one else can share its joy. Unequivocally false. You know, you can be bitter, and I can say this as a psychology student. You can be bitter and not know what you're bitter about. And people share joy all the time. So that verse is utter nonsense. Verse 11. The house of the wicked will be destroyed, but the tent of the upright will flourish. Yeah, whatever. Again, gobbledygook if you ask me. Verse 12. There is a way that appears to be right, but in the end it leads to death. Don't all paths lead to death? I mean, seriously? Are you seriously going to try to sell this bullshit? Every single one of us is going to die. Every one of us. No getting out of it. So anyway, that's it for the my take on terrible advice in the Bible. I do have something to ask of you, and I feel kind of funny about asking it. My dad is asleep right now, and I don't want him to hear me asking this because he's a very proud man. He served his country for 20 years. But sometimes, like I said, he does have cancer. He has lung cancer. Sometimes he feels well enough to drive to his treatments, but sometimes he doesn't. And when he doesn't, he has to call a cab. And his insurance doesn't cover things like that. And it puts a strain on his finances sometimes, you know. And like I said, I feel funny about asking this. And that's why I'm not asking him asking this while he's awake, so he can hear me. But if you will, it doesn't have to be very much. And please, if you need to keep your money, please keep it. Okay, we will be fine. Somehow. But if you can spare anything, sorry, I wanted to make sure he wasn't up. You can donate on my PayPal link. It is in the description. Another way you can help is I have a merch store on my website. Link also in the description. That way you do get a little bit of something for your money, and I get a percentage of whatever you spend at my merch store. So that's another way you can help out. Um, Another way you can help out is I now have super chats. So if you're online when I come live, you can always do a super chat, and I will read those super chats. It's a good way to make me say whatever you want me to say. So, you know, and thank you from the bottom of my heart. It all goes to him. Okay, I don't keep any of it. I'm gonna give it all to him for his uh, needs. You know. So anyway, I will see you guys later, and it's nice chatting with you. Don't forget, hit the like button and press the subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss anything. Bye.